Sing the blues, you don't have to live them.
What do you know? White boy.
This week on At the Movies, Beyonce Knowles and Oscar winner Adrian Brody star in the biopic Cadillac Records.
It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what I feel.
Kate Winslet and Ralph Fiennes hide a dark secret in the reader. We've got an early review.
We're tonight's entertainment. Plus, the biggest blockbuster of the last...
What the hell you know about the blues? I gave you a damn good track. You want it, you sing.
Trying to take care of you.
I don't need no man to take care of me.
Beyonce Knowles portrays the great Etta James, circa mid-1950s Chicago. I'm Ben Mankiewicz from Turner Classic Movies.
And I'm Ben Lyons from E! Entertainment. Our first movie is Cadillac Records, which centers on the rise of Leonard Chess, played by Oscar winner Adrian Brody. He's the music man who discovered Muddy Waters, brought him and his guitar to Chicago, gave him a Cadillac, and the rest, they say, is rock and roll history.
I mean, it was simple. He was the cat every man wanted to be, and every woman wanted to love. And Muddy, well, he just kept growing into that
man. Jeffrey Wright, whose talents far outreach his stardom, plays Muddy Waters, and he is simply mesmerizing to watch on screen. One of the film's executive producers, Beyonce Knowles, delivers the best performance of her young acting career as the drug-addicted Etta James.
Thought you said this broad was good.
I heard church bells ring. I heard a choir singing.
One of my favorite musicians in real life, hip-hop artist Mos Def, plays Chuck Berry, the first of the Chess Records family to cross over into the mainstream. And he really injects the film with much-needed life and some well-timed humor.
This license says you're Indian. That pinup make you look like a white man. What the hell are you?
Well, I'm a musician, and my name is Chuck Berry. And I can be whatever you need me to be to play in your fine establishment this evening.
Cadillac Records, of course, is nothing new. It's a story we've seen before in movies like Walk the Line, Ray, and Dreamgirls. The only thing that really changes here, of course, are the names in this film about musicians from humble backgrounds hitting it big, only to succumb to the temptations of sex, drugs, and everything that comes with rock and roll. For the performances alone, and not so much the predictable and slow-paced story, be sure to rent it.
I did not get into it at all. I think you need to skip this movie. There is not one authentic moment of human discourse in the whole movie. Every conversation is a big picture conversation to convey some big point. Not one, as I said, authentic moment that I could find in the entire movie, start to finish.
I thought Columbus Short was very authentic as the harmonica player, Little Walter, in a really breakout performance, as was Iman Walker. Fans of Oz will recognize him. He plays Howlin' Wolf. It's these sort of smaller performances and an ensemble cast that do add life to the film. However, it just, like I said, you've seen these kind of rock and roll biopics before, but I think music fans will enjoy this, and that's why they should get it on DVD.
Look, I thought Columbus Short was fine. I thought Iman Walker was good. I think it's worth noting that Jeffrey Wright did a nice job. You mentioned Beyonce Knowles. I didn't think really anything of her performance whatsoever. I thought Mos Def was the one character who really injected some real life into the movie, and it needed, desperately, it needed life. When Little Walter dies, the song that they play as Muddy Waters tends to his body is, "Last night I lost the best friend I ever had." That the whole movie is
hit you over the head a little bit, so yeah, absolutely.
And again.
But you know what? These are forgotten figures in music, and for today's generation of young people who are influenced by their work, it's important to learn about where some of their favorite artists today were sort of inspired by, and that's what this is about.
I agree, but then we got to have a documentary about it first. Nobody aged in this whole movie. That's another problem. From 40 to 65, Muddy Waters looks exactly the same.
The limitations of a small budget film shot in under 30 days. I did like the Cadillacs and the clothing, and it does take you to that period, and it gives you a sense of the time.
I hear you, but to me that sounds like an excuse. Our next movie, Nobel Son, comes out of the gate in gruesome fashion. A man is attacked at an ATM and his thumb deliberately severed. And this, I think, is a comedy. It's the story of Eli Michelson, played with typical delightful arrogance by Alan Rickman. Eli wins the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, setting off a chain of events where his son Barkley is kidnapped, perhaps by Eli's bitter, illegitimate son.
Eli Michelson, Nobel laureate.
Hello.
I have your son, Doctor.
You will only survive if I receive $2 million.
Unmarked bills. Oh, bull.
Can Eli's wife, a forensic psychologist, figure out what's really going on? And is Barkley involved in his own abduction just as a way to get back at his pompous, self-important father?
It's everything we have, Sarah.
It is not everything we have. We have our son, who we love more than any amount of money in the world. There are no alternatives, Eli.
Sarah, damn it. I'll tell you. It's lonely at the top.
Here's a good moment. Mary Steenburgen, Eli's wife, and Bill Pullman, a detective, wonder if the human thumb they've been sent is her son's.
There were 4 thumb-related crimes in the LA area in the last 3 weeks.
I hope it is his thumb. If it's somebody else's thumb, then this kidnapper is a calculating psychopath.
I mean, come on, thumb crimes? It's good stuff. Alan Rickman is so skilled, able to convey condescension with just a glance or a hand motion. Though the rest of the cast, including Danny DeVito, is good, every time Nobel Son got interesting, it simultaneously got silly. I had high hopes for Nobel Son at about the halfway point, but it ultimately really completely collapses under the weight of its own clever twists. And it collapses hard. I say skip it.
I agree with you. Skip it, Mank. Films that are good are the ones that know what they're trying to be.
Yeah.
And this is all over the place. Is it a thriller? Is it a heist movie? Is it a comedy, like you said? It doesn't really have an identity of its own. And then added to the fact that it's got a really insufferable soundtrack from Paul Oakenfold, who is known in the world of dance music as sort of the godfather of the genre. The music is so jarring and out of place with a film of this style and tone that it really took me out of the moment.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the music, because really the back half of the movie becomes farcical, I think. The first half is better, but the first half has more of that music than the second half, and then it sort of vanishes for a while. And you're correct to point out that you don't quite know what this movie is. I mean, if it were just a flat-out comedy thriller, that's okay. You can blend those two things together. It really becomes inauthentic. I don't believe it at all.
It's one of those movies that it looks like they didn't really get the people that they ideally wanted for the project. Brian Greenberg is fine as a leading man, but he's not strong enough to really carry this film. He's in almost every scene.
Randall Miller directed this. A lot of the cast of Bottle Shock came in to do Nobel Son, but it didn't work as well.
A very ambitious effort, but it's safe to say we can skip Nobel Son. Coming up next, the comic book icon comes to the big screen in Punisher, Warzone.
Plus, Kate Winslet finds forbidden love in the reading.
I'm studying a play. You can read it.
I'd rather listen to you.
You said something big was going to happen.
Somebody has to punish the corrupt.
You're fighting a war.
This is just the beginning.
Now, from the powerhouse Marvel Comics comes Punisher, Warzone, marking the third movie adaptation in 20 years of the story of Frank Castle, a family man turned vigilante after the death of his wife and daughter. This time around, the Punisher is coldly and unemotionally played by Ray Stevenson, the Irish-born actor best known to American audiences for his work on HBO's Rome. He knocks off one mob figure after another, punishing them for their crimes.
For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you.
Matthew, 7-2. I'm okay with that.
God be with you, Frank.
Sometimes I'd like to get my hands on God.
Castle accidentally kills an undercover FBI agent when he takes the law into his own hands. Devastated by his actions and contemplating retiring from his role as New York City's anti-hero, his conscience comes calling as the widow of the dead agent and her daughter become the target for his most formidable foe yet, Jigsaw, played by Dominic West from The Wire.
You look fantastic, brother. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's play a game.
The entire movie, of course, is over the top. It is a comic book film, after all, with one menacing bloodbath after another. I don't find it necessary to show uniformed police officers being stabbed and beaten for no apparent reason, or old ladies who have their heads blown off for the sake of laughter. It's just not funny. Hopefully, it's 3 strikes and you're out for The Punisher, as this latest attempt to create another comic book franchise will prove once and for all that maybe this character just doesn't deserve the big screen treatment. Gotta say, skip Punisher Warzone.
I think it needs a 4th treatment.
Come on, please don't say that.
No, Punisher, this was a terrible movie. I say skip it. And it bummed me out because Ray Stevenson, who is, you're right, is unemotional here as Frank Castle. He is, I think, the finest talent to come out of Rome, which was a terrific HBO miniseries. He showed such enormous emotional capabilities in Rome that I hate to see him cast as this. And then you throw in Dominic West, who really was hard to watch sometimes, and we know from watching The Wire how enormously talented this guy is. So you got 2 actors with great range, 2 really skilled actors, and they are beyond wasted in The Punisher.
Of course, once Iron Man and Batman and the Incredible Hulk really bring back comic books to the big screen, they're like, all right, let's just hit them with another comic book franchise, and this just doesn't hold up to those films at all. It's laughable at times. Some of the action is kind of stylistically cool, but by the 500th murder in this movie, it feels like that many people died.
I'm not even sure you're exaggerating.
Right? It just gets so over the top, and the blood squishing is just nauseating.
The sound effect of squishing, splurting blood is not, you're right, it's nauseating, and the violence is absurdly gratuitous. I actually did have a problem with the violence.
Sweeping crane shots of New York does not make it New York. This was obviously shot somewhere else. Coming up next, from Oprah's book club to a theater near you, Kate Winslet stars in The Reader.
I can't live without you. Do you love me?
Did she acknowledge the effect she had had on your life?
She had done much worse to other people.
You were picking women out and saying you and you and you have to be sent back to be killed.
No, no.
Have you spent much time thinking about the past?
It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what I feel. The dead are still dead.
Making an emotionally authentic movie about the Holocaust that we all haven't seen before is an enormous challenge for a filmmaker, and it's a challenge 2-time Oscar nominee Stephen Daldry has overcome with The Reader. It opens next week, and this is an early review. It's the story of a 36-year-old woman, Kate Winslet, who entices a sweet 15-year-old boy into an affair in West Berlin 13 years after the fall of the Nazis.
What are you having?
You order. I'll have what you have. Hope your mother was happy.
She enjoyed her meal very much.
The boy is Michael, played by German actor David Cross, who is simultaneously sweet, inquisitive, and aggressive in the romance with Winslet, a real testament to his capabilities as an actor. Sure, they have sex, but Hannah Schmitz, that's Winslet, is just as interested in having Michael read to her books he's gotten at school. They develop a pattern, sex, then reading.
This is disgusting. Where did you get this?
Borrowed it from someone at school.
Well, you should be ashamed. Go on.
And then, in a flash, Hannah vanishes, leaving Michael devastated. Daldry's narrative is creative. The beginning of the story takes place in the late 50s, but much of it is from Michael's point of view as the years progress, with Ralph Fiennes playing an older Michael.
When I was young, I had an affair with Hannah. The affair only lasted a summer, but...
But what?
I see.
Back and forth through time, we learn why Hannah vanished and which of her secrets brings her more shame. Ben, I think this is a great film, and people ought to see it.
Absolutely. You have to see The Reader. It's a great film because it really switches gears, and it doesn't leave the audience behind, which is very difficult for a film to do. About a third of the way into the movie, it takes a 180 that you really don't see coming, and that's what sort of gives it another second life in the second act. And I found Kate Winslet to be absolutely mesmerizing on screen. She can be cruel, she can be sexy, she can be heartwarming. She really shows the wide range of emotion that has made her one of the great actresses of our time.
I can't name 5 better actors, men or women, working today than Kate Winslet. I've been a big fan of hers for a long time, and she steps up, takes it to another level, a level that I don't even think she needed to get to in this movie. And from Stephen Daldry's point of view, the director, to make a movie where a 36-year-old woman takes advantage of a 15-year-old boy, and there's a Nazi element to it, and we still feel enormous sympathy for that character, Kate Winslet's character. That's, I think, a real remarkable achievement.
And I'm glad you mentioned David Cross, because here's a young actor who you haven't seen much of before, and for him to hold his own in every scene with Kate Winslet is a true testament to his young talent. Also, Ray Fiennes is at the top of his game here. He gives a great performance, and the reading in this film, it really draws the characters together, and you find the simplicity and love and the connection between them. I found myself just enthralled and really enjoying every frame of The Reader.
I agree.
Coming up, the most talked about movie of the year in our DVD Out Now list.
These things are built for that, right?
He's gonna need something a lot bigger to get through this.
What is that? What is that, a bazooka?
Time for our DVD Out Now list. Hitting stores next week on DVD and Blu-ray is Batman: The Dark Knight. Chances are you didn't miss it, as it was the highest grossing film of 2008 and the second biggest moneymaker of all time, behind Titanic. This is an event movie at its finest. Look for the late Heath Ledger to be nominated for an Academy Award, as it goes without saying that his turn as the Joker is one of the great villains we've ever seen on the big screen.
I just did what I do best. I took your little plan and I turned it on itself. Look what I did to this city with a few drums of gas and a couple of bullets.
The DVD comes loaded with extras, including all 6 of the action-packed IMAX sequences and their original IMAX framing, masterfully directed by Christopher Nolan and his longtime cinematographer, Wally Pfister. The disc takes us inside the process of Nolan's reinvention of the new Batsuit and that awesomely cool new Batpod, and provides fans with a digitally formatted version of the movie for your computer or mobile device. The latest from the Batman franchise is a true achievement in cinema and is a perfect holiday gift for any passionate film fan. Mank, you think the movie gets nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars?
I doubt it. I doubt it, and I don't even think it's the best superhero movie of the year. Of course, nothing tops The Punisher.
Punisher Warzone.
Right, exactly. No, actually, if any superhero movie does get nominated, I'd like to see Iron Man, but I don't think either of them will. My DVD pick is Man on Wire. It's the story of Philippe Petit's greatest feat. August 1974, Philippe walked on a wire 1,350 feet above Lower Manhattan from the South Tower of the World Trade Center to the North Tower, and back again.
I sit down on the wire in one of my crossings, and I did something that amazed people. I actually look all the way down to look at something that I will never in my life see again.
He made 8 trips total. James Marsh's film tells the story in riveting layers. You know Philippe makes it, but you're still totally terrified. Philippe himself tells much of the story, and his robust enthusiasm and that of the international motley crew that assisted him is magnetic. It is one of the year's best movies. I loved this film.
Probably the best documentary of the year. Looking back, it just looks like a magnificent time in the city's history. The 70s were so turbulent, and this is part of the city's history. It was just remarkable to watch on screen. So both Man on Wire and The Dark Knight will be in stores on Tuesday, and available on DVD right now. Angelina Jolie stars in Wanted, plus The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, and Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are stepbrothers.
Hey, I never asked you. Yeah. You like guacamole?
Ron Howard's masterpiece about an interview that exposed a president. That's next in my 3 to See.
On water again.
Closed captioning for At the Movies is sponsored by... Hotel provided by Park Hyatt Chicago, Chicago's award-winning hotel and luxury dining experience, located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile on Water Tower Square.
All right, time now to recap the movies on this week's show. I say it's safe to rent Cadillac Records. Mank says you can skip it. We both say you can skip Nobel Son, and you can definitely skip Punisher Warzone. We agree, though, that you should see The Reader. It opens next week.
Ben just told you the movies we reviewed this week, but out of all the films in theaters right now, here are the 3 you have to see. I'll start it off with Frost Nixon. It's only available in New York and L.A., so most of the country has to wait until Christmas. But give yourself a present and go see this film as soon as possible. Next, Milk. Gus Van Sant's wonderful biopic of Harvey Milk. Sean Penn gives an Oscar-worthy performance, and we've learned Josh Brolin can do anything that's asked of him. And if you're looking to take the family to a movie over the holidays, do not fear Madagascar 2. The kids or grandkids will love it, and viewers over 11 will also laugh. I'm going to cheat now, and on Tuesday, go get Man on Wire there. That's 4 to see.
This might be the first time I agree with all the films that you picked. Well done, Mank. That's it for now. Remember, we're always online on atthemoviestv.com.
And we'll leave you with a look at movies coming up over the next few weeks. And until then, of course, we'll be at the movies.
You should let me go.
With a little luck, this could be my ticket back on top.
Bring it. It is within my power to drastically change his circumstances.
The perfect gift just got even better. For a limited time, buy a $25 IHOP gift card and get $5 off a future visit. IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
My Bliss? Blistex Complete Moisture. A rush of moisture lips can feel. And it feels great. Discover Bliss. Discover Blistex.
Now, you can return to the magic of Narnia.
It's Aslan!
The family movie of the year. Narnia, Prince Caspian. The perfect holiday gift. Only on Disney DVD and Blu-ray.
Bring home the biggest film of the decade. The Dark Knight. Buy it on Blu-ray and DVD December 9th.
It might seem strange, but your antenna TV could become just a box if you don't get this box. In February 2009, some TVs will stop working unless they're upgraded to digital television with this DTV converter box. Without this upgrade, your antenna TV will not work. Make sure your TV is DTV. Call 888-DTV-2009 or visit dtvanswers.com. Don't let your TV become just a box.